Why gluttony is not about food. There is a sin most people misunderstand. They think it lives on the table. They think it smells like excess, looks like indulgence, sounds like appetite. But gluttony does not begin with food. It begins with hunger, not of the body, but of the soul. Gluttony is not about eating too much. It is about never being satisfied. Christian tradition does not condemn hunger. Hunger is natural. Hunger keeps us alive. What Scripture warns against is appetite without restraint, desire without purpose, consumption without gratitude. Gluttony is when you consume not because you need, but because something inside you feels empty, and you are trying to fill it. Food is only the surface. Gluttony wears many disguises. It can look like comfort eating. It can look like addiction. It can look like constant distraction, endless scrolling, endless entertainment, endless noise, anything to avoid silence, because silence reveals hunger. Gluttony is the refusal to sit with emptiness. Instead of asking why the soul aches, it feeds and feeds and feeds again. Scripture teaches that man does not live by bread alone, yet gluttony insists that bread is enough, that pleasure will quiet the ache, that consumption will bring peace. But it never does, because gluttony does not want nourishment. It wants anesthesia, something to dull the awareness that something is missing. This is why gluttony is dangerous. It trains the soul to seek relief instead of healing, to reach outward instead of upward, to fill the mouth instead of the heart. In the wilderness, Christ was tempted with bread. He was hungry, truly hungry, and yet he refused to let appetite rule him. Not because bread was evil, but because obedience was greater than desire. Gluttony flips that order. It places desire above obedience, comfort above discipline, immediate satisfaction above eternal meaning. And slowly, the soul forgets how to fast, not just from food, but from excess, from noise, from pleasure, from distraction. The gluttonous soul is never still, never quiet, never present. It consumes to avoid listening, because if it stopped, it might hear conviction, it might feel longing, it might recognize its need for God. So gluttony keeps the mouth busy, the hands busy, the mind busy, until prayer feels unnecessary, until discipline feels cruel, until restraint feels like punishment. And that is the lie. Because restraint is not deprivation, it is clarity. Fasting is not about suffering, it is about remembering who feeds you. Gluttony makes you forget that God is enough. It whispers, just one more bite, one more video, one more purchase, one more distraction. And each time you obey, the hunger grows, not smaller, larger. Because appetite is a fire. Feed it without limit, and it will demand more. Scripture does not warn us because God hates pleasure. It warns us because pleasure was never meant to rule. Gluttony turns blessing into bondage. What was meant to sustain you begins to control you. And eventually, you do not choose anymore. You react. You reach. You consume. Not because you want to, but because you must. And that is when appetite becomes a master. The gluttonous soul does not collapse dramatically. It dulls. It loses sharpness. Prayer becomes slow. Joy becomes shallow. Gratitude becomes rare. Not because God is distant, but because the soul is full of everything else. So let me ask you, what do you reach for when you feel empty? What do you consume to avoid silence? Because that habit may not be harmless. It may be teaching your soul to depend on something other than God. Gluttony is not loud. It is comfortable. It wraps itself in routine, in reward, in just this once. But slowly, it trains the heart to expect satisfaction from the wrong source. And a soul trained that way forgets how to hunger for God. This is why gluttony is not about food. It is about forgetting what truly feeds you. And any hunger that leads you away from God will never be satisfied, no matter how much you consume.